Once there was a beggar who lived at a busy city train station. Every day, he sat near the entrance, holding out his hand as passengers rushed past him. Some people ignored him. Some gave a few coins without even looking at his face. That was how he survived. He filled his stomach with whatever little money he collected each day. He had been living like this for years. The station was his home. The sound of trains arriving and leaving was like background music in his life. He knew the regular passengers, the tea sellers, the ticket collectors, but no one really knew him. To them, he was just a beggar. One day, while sitting near his usual spot, he noticed a tall man in a clean suit walking confidently toward the platform. The man looked educated, rich, and important. His shoes were polished. His watch shone in the sunlight. The beggar thought to himself, "This man looks wealthy. If I ask him, maybe he will give me a good amount." So he stood up quickly and approached the man. "Sir, please give me some money," he said softly. The tall man stopped and looked at him carefully. Instead of taking out his wallet, he asked, "You are always begging here, aren't you?" "Yes, sir," the beggar replied. The man then asked something unexpected. "Do you ever give anything to anyone?" The beggar felt embarrassed. "Sir, I am a beggar. I always ask. I don't have anything to give." The tall man shook his head slightly. "If you cannot give anything, then you have no right to ask. I am a businessman. I believe in trade. If you have something to give me, only then I can give you something in return." After saying that, he walked away and boarded his train. The beggar stood there, confused and hurt. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. Most people either ignored him or threw a coin at him. But this man had said something that stayed in his heart. "If you cannot give anything, you have no right to ask." He went back to his spot and sat down quietly. The words kept repeating in his mind. That night, he could not sleep properly. He kept thinking, maybe that is why people give me so little. Because I only ask, I never give. But then another thought came. How can I give anything? I am a beggar. I own nothing. For 2 days, he kept thinking about this. He watched people come and go. He watched vendors selling tea, snacks, newspapers. Everyone was giving something and receiving money in return. Only, he was stretching out his hand with nothing to offer. On the 3rd day, while sitting near the station garden, he noticed small flowers blooming on the plants nearby. They were simple, colorful, and fresh. Suddenly, an idea came into his mind. What if I give a flower to everyone who gives me money? He thought. It may be small, but at least I will not just be taking. The idea made him smile. He carefully picked a few flowers and sat in his usual place. When the first passenger gave him a coin, he smiled and handed over a flower. "For you," he said. The woman looked surprised, but she took the flower and smiled back. "Thank you," she said softly. The beggar felt something new in his heart. It was not just relief from getting money, it was joy. That day, he continued doing the same. Whoever gave him money, he gave a flower in return. Some people were confused. Some laughed, but many were happy. They kept the flower carefully. A few even gave him more money than usual. From that day on, he started picking flowers every morning before begging. Slowly, something changed. More people began to notice him. They did not see him as just a beggar anymore. They saw him as someone who gave something back. He realized something important. When he had flowers, people gave him money happily. But when he ran out of flowers and held out his empty hand, people walked past without stopping. That simple act changed everything. One day, while walking along the platform with his small bunch of flowers, he saw the same tall man in a suit. The businessman was waiting for his train. The beggar quickly ran toward him. "Sir," he said with a smile, "today I have something to give you. Please give me some money, and I will give you a flower in return." The tall man looked at him, surprised. Then he smiled. He took out some money and handed it to him. The beggar proudly gave him a fresh flower. The businessman held the flower and said, "Very good. Today you have become a businessman just like me." Those words went straight into the beggar's heart. A businessman. For the first time in his life, someone had called him that. That evening, he stood outside the station and looked at the sky. He felt something powerful inside him. "I am not just a beggar," he whispered. "I am a businessman. I can grow. I can become rich." People passing by thought he had gone mad because he was smiling and talking to himself. But inside him, a new belief had been born. The next day, he did not sit at the station to beg. Instead, he went to a flower market. With the money he had saved, he bought a small bundle of flowers. He stood near the station, not with an empty hand, but with flowers displayed neatly. He no longer said, "Give me money." He said, "Buy a fresh flower." The change was small, but the difference was huge. Now people were not giving him charity. They were buying from him. They respected him. Some customers came daily. Some ordered flowers in bulk. Slowly, he saved more money. He rented a tiny shop. Then he hired one helper. His business grew step by step. 6 months later, at the same train station, 2 men in suits were waiting for a train. They shook hands politely. "Do you remember me?" one asked. The other man looked carefully. "I don't think we've met before." The first man smiled. "We have met twice. The first time, I was confused about my life. The second time, I had found myself." The second man looked closer. Suddenly, his eyes widened. You are the beggar from this station." "Yes," the first man replied calmly. "I was that beggar. But today, I am a flower businessman. I am traveling to another city to expand my business." The second man smiled in surprise. "I remember now. The first time, I refused to give you money. The second time, I bought a flower from you. And that day changed my life." The former beggar said, "You taught me a simple rule. We receive only when we give." I stopped seeing myself as a beggar. I started seeing myself as a businessman. People were not giving me charity anymore. They were paying for my flowers. Both men smiled and boarded the train, talking about business and life. This story teaches us something powerful. Success is not only about money, it is about mindset. As long as the man saw himself as a beggar, he stayed a beggar. The day he changed how he saw himself, his life began to change. He stopped asking without offering. He started giving, even if it was something small. In life, we receive only when we give. Respect comes when we add value. Growth begins when we change our thinking. If we think we are small, we stay small. If we believe we can grow, we start finding ways to grow. Success does not start in the bank. It starts in the mind.